Look up at the night sky. It seems empty and serene, right? Wrong. There are over 30,000 pieces of debris larger than a softball racing around Earth right now. Millions of smaller pieces too. Old rockets, broken satellites, lost tools, even astronaut gloves. We've turned space into a junkyard, and it's becoming a serious problem. Let's count the cosmic trash. Over 36,000 objects larger than 4 inches. Over 1 million pieces between 1 and 10 centimeters. And over 130 million fragments smaller than 1 centimeter. Total estimated mass? Over 9,000 tons of space junk orbiting Earth. We've been littering since the space age began. Here's what makes space junk terrifying. It travels at 17,000 miles per hour. At that speed, a marble has the energy of a bowling ball dropped from a 4-story building. A paint fleck once cracked the International Space Station's window. Even tiny debris becomes a lethal bullet. In space, trash fights back. Every space mission leaves stuff behind. Rocket stages detach and stay in orbit. Satellites die but don't come down. Astronauts lose tools during spacewalks. But the biggest mess? Intentional destruction. In 2007, China blew up one of its satellites, instantly created over 3,500 trackable pieces, still up there. In 1978, NASA scientist Donald Kessler proposed a nightmare scenario. One collision creates debris. That debris hits other objects. More debris. More collisions. A runaway chain reaction that fills orbit with so much junk that space becomes unusable. No more satellites. No GPS. No weather prediction. We might trap ourselves on Earth. In 2009, an active U.S. satellite collided with a dead Russian one. First accidental hypervelocity collision between 2 satellites. Created over 2,000 pieces of debris. Those pieces spread across a range of orbits. Some will stay up there for centuries. The Kessler Syndrome isn't hypothetical. It's happening in slow motion right now. The International Space Station performs collision avoidance maneuvers about once per year. Controllers track debris and fire thrusters to dodge. Astronauts have sheltered in escape capsules during close calls. SpaceX's Starlink satellites have performed over 50,000 avoidance maneuvers. Space is becoming an obstacle course, and we keep adding obstacles. Space junk has already destroyed valuable hardware. France's Cerise satellite was hit in 1996. Ecuador's only satellite was struck in 2013. The Hubble Space Telescope has hundreds of micro-crater impacts. We're literally punching holes in our most valuable space assets with our own garbage. Ironic, isn't it? Companies are launching thousands of new satellites. SpaceX's Starlink alone plans 42,000 satellites. Amazon's Kuiper, thousands more. More satellites mean more collision risk. Each collision creates more debris. More debris means more collisions. See the problem? We're speeding toward the Kessler Syndrome while building the infrastructure that needs space most. Low Earth orbit, between 100 and 1,200 miles up, is the most crowded. That's where the space station flies, where most satellites live. Geostationary orbit, 22,000 miles up, has its own debris belt. Some debris will stay up for centuries. Others fall and burn up in years. The worst zone is getting more dangerous daily. The U.S. Space Surveillance Network tracks over 27,000 objects. Radars and optical telescopes watch the skies constantly. They catalog debris, predict collisions, and warn satellite operators. But they can only track objects larger than 10 centimeters. Millions of dangerous smaller pieces are invisible. We're flying partially blind up there. Debris does eventually come down. Atmospheric drag slowly pulls objects lower until they burn up. But this takes years at low altitudes and centuries higher up. Objects above 600 miles can orbit for decades or longer. Natural cleanup can't keep pace with how fast we're adding junk. We're filling the orbital bathtub faster than it drains. Scientists are designing space garbage trucks. Ideas include nets that capture debris, harpoons that spear old satellites, robotic arms that grab junk, and lasers that push debris to burn up. The European Space Agency is planning Clear Space 1 mission to grab a piece of debris. First active removal attempt ever. The cleanup is beginning. New rules require satellites to deorbit within 25 years of mission end. Some satellites carry extra fuel for controlled re-entry. Others deploy drag sails that catch atmospheric particles and slow down. Future satellites might be designed to disintegrate completely on re-entry. Prevention is easier than cleanup. We're learning from our mistakes. Here's the dilemma. Space is a global commons, but cleanup costs money. Who pays to remove Chinese debris? Russian? American? Satellites generate billions in revenue. Cleanup missions cost hundreds of millions. There's no space trash police forcing action. Everyone benefits from clean orbits. No one wants to pay. Classic tragedy of the commons. Some debris is weaponized intentionally. Anti-satellite weapons create debris to deny enemies orbital access. In tests, China, Russia, India, and the US have all destroyed satellites. Each test adds thousands of pieces. The debris threatens everyone, including the country that created it. Space warfare is already polluting orbit for everyone. Imagine the Kessler Syndrome runs wild. GPS fails. Navigation for ships, planes, and cars disappears. Weather satellites go dark. Farmers lose crop monitoring. Financial systems that use satellite timing crash. Communication satellites die. The internet slows dramatically. Modern civilization depends on space more than most people realize. Losing it would be catastrophic. Space debris is everyone's problem. The Interagency Space Debris Coordination Committee brings together 13 space agencies to share data and develop guidelines. The United Nations has guidelines too, but they're voluntary. Without binding international law, cleanup remains optional. We need global cooperation before it's too late. Why should you care? You probably use space every day. GPS in your phone, weather forecasts, satellite TV and internet. Even ATM transactions use satellite timing. Space enables modern life invisibly. If debris makes orbit unusable, your daily life gets harder. Space cleanup isn't just for astronauts. It's for everyone with a smartphone. The good news, we're waking up. More satellites are designed for deorbit. Active removal missions are being funded. Tracking technology is improving. International cooperation is growing. If we act now, we can keep space usable. But the window is closing. Every year of inaction makes cleanup harder. The time for space responsibility is now. Space isn't infinite. The orbits we use are limited and increasingly crowded. We've turned the cosmic highway into a junkyard. But we can fix this. With smart design, active cleanup, and international cooperation, we can keep space open for exploration. The final frontier deserves better than becoming Earth's biggest landfill. Thanks for watching.